We are live.
Hi there. Welcome to Peppers and Flowers, where sales and marketing doesn't make sense. Please join us for the conversation.
James, since we're all in quarantine, by the way, have you looked out your window in your neighborhood and seen people that you just don't recognize because no one ever walks anymore? And then since everyone's stuck at home, you start seeing people that you kind of have to squint your eyes to glance at because you haven't seen them in years because they never go outside, and you just didn't recognize them because they aged.
Oh my gosh. That's pretty interesting. I can't say that's happened to me, but I mean, sounds like something happened to you recently, Daniel, or
I was looking outside my window and I was like, who the heck are these people? There's just random people walking up and down my street. And I realized, oh, that's the woman that lives at the bottom of the hill. That's that person. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen them in 8 years. But everyone's up walking and trying to
Mhm.
keep their mind. It's hysterical. I'm just like,
Yeah, no, yeah, wow, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I have a lot of walkers and cyclers now, and families going out with their kids riding bikes. And what I notice is that they're like, I have my son on his bike, and he's for the first time off of the training wheels, and so he's kind of, going at it, but still a little shaky.
mm,
And so we got some cyclers coming the opposite way, like cheering him on, like, you got it, son, you got it. And they're like almost like talking to him like their own children, right? So I just see a lot more of that old good old fashioned, just treating your neighbors like kind of like your
oh,
own.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That that's funny you mentioned that because I was thinking my gosh, that doesn't really happen anymore, does it? Well, probably it happens more in younger communities or newer communities with young families, and they have all kids and they're very involved. I could see it there, but my neighborhood's kind of they bought this, they're the original owners. They bought the house in the 70s when it was first built. And
Mm.
so they either did or didn't have kids, and all the kids grew up and moved out.
Right, right. Empty nesters, and now they're there, kind of retiring and settling down, things like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah, right on.
So it's weird,
Yeah.
but um, you know, I can see a lot of. Well, here's something that I think we can segue into kind of the main conversation is I could see this quarantine thing being a
Mhm.
lot of make it or break it situations for families because if you think about it, if we have a child that is probably under the age of 3 or just young, they most of the time they have working parents, if not both are working, so they put them in school early 2 3 times a week, and then the father or mom's working full time, and then one's working part-time or full-time too, so they rarely see the kids, and if they do, or if they're together all at once, it's for a couple hours at night every day.
Mhm.
So when they are in this quarantine and companies are making them work from home, there's a lot of families facing challenge because they're not used to spending that much time together, or what do we do with our kids, we're bored.
Yeah.
uh
Mhm.
it's a challenge for me to work at home because there's distraction, and I think there's a lot of families growing closer from this, and there's a lot of families growing more apart from this.
Yeah, they're like, "Thank you for the social distancing. I'm gonna practice that on my children," you know?
Yeah.
It's like, "Thank you for that advice there, we'll do that in our house," It's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
interesting, but I think seeing past all that, it's definitely an opportunity.
Mhm.
It's definitely an opportunity that you have probably in a lifetime, that your company is forcing you to work home because of the necessity. Maybe you have a little more free time, maybe you don't. I'm not sure of the
Mhm.
situation, but you have an opportunity to see past this quarantine thing and make the best of what you have right now, and be grateful that you can be home and spend time with your family. Um,
Perfect, perfect.
and I think that's kind of the that's, as Sensei Daniel says, that's the lesson of the day. I don't know. I think that's a good lesson though, because you can apply that to your business practice, where a lot of businesses are attracting, and we kind of touch points on a lot of the same things all the time, but businesses are retracting, they're saving, they're trying to be safe, and they may or may not realize that there's such a huge opportunity to expand, and the opportunity cost is extremely low. Like, people are still buying, and people are still doing things. There's just less people doing things, but people are still out and about doing things.
Right, that's true. I noticed that Starbucks closes at 2 o'clock now. I stopped there for a cup of coffee in the afternoon, and I was like, "Oh, we're closed now after 2." And so I was like, "Okay, well, at least they're open half of the day, and still catering to the morning audience that gets coffee." But then, other places I see the drive-throughs still kicking in and people going through and getting their food. And you still see a few cars here and there, but I think by and large, we have to just adapt to the new environments that we get into. And that's not just speaking about what we're currently going through right now with the coronavirus. It speaks to any environment that we're in. It could be just for any family right now who may be suffering because they have a family member who has cancer, or they just lost a family member for some other reason, or a couple having a divorce, or a child going through some difficulties learning and growing, and maybe some disabilities going on. There's so many factors that we go through in life, and sometimes I mean, not sometimes, I think we should always look beyond or past what's before our eyes, what seems to be the reality, although it is very real, and look deeper into situations, into people, and into ourselves, to find strength and a greater solution. Because in business and in life, we're going to have failures, we're going to have rejections, we're going to have losses. But does that mean
Yeah.
that's the end of the story? No, I don't think so. So I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm grateful because I'm at home now and my kids are there. We see each other all the time, and I participate in homeschooling, and to me, it's somewhat refreshing because now I get to do more with my kids as far as their education is concerned.
Yeah.
Whereas before, you kind of, you do the homeworks here and there, but it's not as existent. But yeah, if we need breaks, we kind of all go out for a walk or go to the park still. We still, ride the bicycles, and, the kids chit chat with their friends on Skype now, or things like that.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. You know,
yeah,
well, here's something that's funny. I think seeing past and like always seeing the opportunity in things is,
hmm
I'm not going to say their name, but there's a vitamin company that is not doing very hot right now,
hmm
and they're closing a bunch of stores, and they're international. They have, I don't remember the number. I think at their best they had close to 300 stores worldwide, and then they, beginning of last year, they ended probably with 150 stores,
hmm
and now with the current update I got, they are closing more stores, so they could be well below 150. I don't know the exact number, and I just thought it was just so like strange, because they're a multi-million-dollar company. They're international. It seems like they're doing pretty well, and they're in a time of a health crisis. Okay, they're a vitamin supplement company. Like,
mm
they're all about health, and they're
mm
not doing well in a time of a health crisis.
Right.
Don't you think you would want to buy something that boosts your immunity? I don't know. I'm like,
Yeah. You
get
know
the
what,
new
Daniel?
elderberry against
Yeah.
coronavirus.
Right.
I just think it's so
Yeah.
odd.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really, it's like the most obvious thing, I mean, how do you lose in that situation? It's like the perfect storm for some of these folks, and yet they shrink back, or they don't count what the value proposition or the value they bring to the marketplace, and maybe they lose a little bit of confidence, and so they don't really press into it. They retract, or like you say, I mean, closing half your stores. I mean, they should be opening more. And it's I think, sometimes maybe what we need to do as entrepreneurs or business professionals or owners is really take again a deeper look at ourselves and say, do I have what it takes to help the market? If this product that I offer, whether it's, a fitness thing or a health thing, I mean, do I really feel like I can help people become healthier? If so, then I need to really lay into this thing and be a lot more confident about what I have to offer and benefit people. And then people will see that and draw to you. So I sometimes
Oh,
maybe if
man.
it's a confidence level.
I have no idea. Because if I knew more detail, I'm sure I'd come up with some sort of
Yeah,
idea of
yeah,
what's going on. But
yeah.
it's just, it's like, it's kind of like, you know, what's a good example? I guess another cold, like, okay, so there's like a cold, right? Like we're gonna get hit by a cold, and this massive cold coming, but we have preventative measures, let's just say,
Hmm.
and everyone like forgets about it when it happens. You know what I mean? So like we have a solution to help you prevent getting sick. This is just an example. It doesn't really have to make sense. And so all you have to do is take this supplement, boost your immunity, drink lots of water, this. But then when it happens, everyone freaks out and no one does that. I guess that could be like an example, perhaps.
Hmm.
Um, because there's at any time, there's always something available, like a supplement or whatever,
Hmm.
that's out there to help with some sort of aspect of your health. Like this promotes healthy gums. Use this toothpaste. This promotes stronger immune system. This promotes you'll totally go sterile and you'll have no living organism on your body. I don't know, right? Or it's the reason why people are buying more and large like hand sanitizer or like wipes, because it's more satisfying and instant. Like
Right.
you can feel the cleanliness of doing it instantly, like wiping down
Hmm.
something. And
Yeah.
that's more satisfying and in your head less risky. Like you feel like that is an active destroyer of a virus that lives on your desk versus not washing your hands, not using sanitizing wipes, not using Purell or anything like that. By the way, we're not sponsored by Purell.
That's
Um,
right.
uh, I think if you gave someone a choice, and now maybe it's the lifestyle, right? So if you are someone who takes a lot of supplements and works out, they probably are taking advantage of immunity boosters and stuff like that because that's just in their lifestyle, right? But for people who don't normally do that, they're going for more instant results. They go, well, we need to get sanitizing wipe. We need to get hand sanitizer because that's the most effective way, at least what they think. And I'm not saying supplements are the effective way to do it, but I'm just thinking like, man, if you were in this crisis, like people are starting to wear face masks. Like
Mm.
I don't, especially in Southern California. I mean, I can understand we're pretty dramatic, but like people are going to the extent of wearing gloves, face masks in public, which normally
Mhm.
I don't think we'd ever see that unless this happened. So I'm assuming people are also kind of buying other things to do as many things as possible I mean, they're buying a ton of toilet paper. They're buying a ton of paper towel. Why? I don't really know. There's no shortage. People just buy so much. We can't like fill the shelves up quick enough. Um, so I'm sure they're buying a bunch of other stuff. But I think, isn't it weird? You know, we're in a health crisis. People take supplements, people take health products, and we have this vitamin supplement company not doing well. Like
Yeah, no,
I wonder
yeah.
how other supplement companies are doing.
Yeah, that's funny. I don't know the answer to that. I guess if we look at the GNCs of the world and other, vitamin companies, we could kind of take a closer look. um I guess I think people also look for, I mean, people with resolve and like what I was talking about, I call it perseverance, kind of like stepping into something when the circumstances don't look good. Like I was sharing earlier, you have a lot of people out there exercising now. It's like they're jogging around their bicycles, going for walks, and it's like they're stepping into this dilemma with a solution. Like, I'm going to become stronger, I'm going to become healthier, my immunity is going to be better, and I'm going to have, whether it's probably taking vitamin C, multivitamins, drinking more lemonade and orange juice, and then going for these walks and jogs, like all that's going to really build up our immunity and our ability to overcome and just have a better state of mind to be healthier. I mean, I think that's the right thing to do, and that's what people, well, a lot of people are doing, at least, from what I've been seeing. And that's the right thing to do. I think you get into a better, clearer state of mind, and now you're more into finding solutions and finding overcoming problems. And as a healthier person, you'll be more accessible, to your family members, especially children, small children that need to play a lot and run around a lot. You'll be there for them, and the stamina will be there. So yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe people are taking a lot more of a organic approach to things, and kind of taking matters into their own hands. And so the supplement companies, maybe they're not being, looked to as much. People are just going for jogs or, working out. So it's like,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, it's interesting times. I mean, I guess, from my perspective, it's the word balance really speaks to me these days. Because as someone who also goes for jogs and exercises and tries to stay healthy, I can't drop the ball on family or work, or personal, hobbies or enjoyment. There, you got to have a balanced lifestyle. Otherwise, that bitterness sets in. Those negative emotions set in. You start to get, sad or depressed, or then you start to, you almost like become a victim to the environment, and that's not what anybody wants, really. I mean, I think this is a time for us to all flourish and just, take advantage of who we are, and as individuals, where we live in a nice country, a great country, and in the setting of nice communities, nice places to live. I mean, all those things still remain true. And I think if we have a right perspective on things, we can live that balanced lifestyle.
Yeah, I think you'll keep making progress as long as you can keep seeing through the cracks. Like there might be a wall in front of you, but you can kind of make your way through a crack and get to the other side. So it might be a little more difficult to see, but you can make there's tons of opportunity, even if it seems like everything's like closing and yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
yeah,
oh,
go ahead, Daniel.
here's something I love too. Okay, I I love talking to storefront owners. Um, really like a unique crowd for sure. And I love when they tell me, okay, successful storefront owners. They go, "Oh man, yeah, best location." You know, really did my market research to like, this is why I'm successful because I prepared. I put all my money in the right location and stuff. And there's two things that I find funny. First of all, it's kind of not true. They may have done the research, right? They may go, well, there's this many cars, there's this people, population, great. You can do somewhat of getting somewhat of an idea, but you really don't know. And once you put the store in, you literally could have no customers, or you could have all the customers in the world, and it's kind of just based on luck to a certain extent. Like you can't determine necessarily if it'll do well or not. I mean, there's large companies that have chains, they put them in places they think they'll do well, and they just don't. But they're like, oh, but the numbers said they would. That happens. Um, and there's unforeseen things that come up, which is like a pandemic or something, or uncontrollable things that you didn't not, maybe you foresaw coming in, but then you don't know what's going to happen. And then when it happens, you have to close your doors or something. So a lot of it's
Mhm.
kind of just based on, you're at the mercy of what people think, what people do, and external things that happen. So it's kind of just like really based on luck at sometimes. But it's kind of interesting right now because we're also seeing how people are reacting under this pressure. So you can see this trend of storefronts doing takeout only. Um, you can see things of, and I was wondering this actually, these really big suppliers like Costco. I know there's this whole like spatial distancing, social distancing thing. So they only let a certain amount of people in the stores, which by the way, no one follows that. If you're in a store that they limit people access to, or amount of people in the store, no one keeps their distance. They're still rubbing next to each other. I mean, like, I was in it the other day. No one really cares. They might wear face masks and stuff, and the ones that really care, you can tell because they're like really dodging everyone, right? And I was thinking like, man, Costco, and we're not sponsored by any of these people, but like the major suppliers or retailers, they like feed America, right? They supply America. So they might not be able to supply their shelves like instantly because people just buy so freaking much, but there's definitely no shortage. But I was wondering like, oh, these guys are being sneaky. Like, that's brilliant. I wonder if they're purposely putting lines together. Okay, this one store, Costco, they put a crates and did like a maze for a line, right?
Mhm.
And they made it this very like entrance to a theme park type thing. Okay, and I was
Nice.
wondering like, okay, I guess they don't want people hanging out in the street. I know why they do this, but is there a certain factor of they've set the stage so that people want to come in? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you have to wait in line and then you'll have your turn. And then when you come in, there's like this scarcity feel. And
Mm.
there's sort of like setting the stage for, I'm not saying it's false what they're doing, but they're like setting a stage, a perception of, we're only letting limited people in because of social distancing. And when it might take longer for you to get in, you need to make sure that you have everything you need before you leave, because then you're gonna have to wait in line again. And so people are filling their carts up more because they're like, this is my one shot because it took me an hour to get in. And then if I get out and I forget something, I have to go wait in the line for another 30 minutes.
Right.
You see what I mean? And it also gives them an opportunity to push other products. So they know people are going to buy a ton of eggs, a ton of milk. Well, maybe not milk, but toilet paper, all this kind of stuff. And it's going to sell it quick. So they double up on all their water. Like more of their rooms now have water cases.
Mhm.
But all their other products that they're trying to sell, they kind of have limits now. So they say, well, one limit for this. And I get people are over purchasing, but there's also, I think there's a deeper strategy. So they're putting like the scarcity. You better fill your carts up more because you're not going to have time to come back in. And they probably see bigger sales on other items because people are less driven towards certain products and push towards others. So I feel like Costco is probably doing better, or these retailers are doing better right now because of how they're like setting the stage. Does that make sense? It's kind of vague a
Yeah,
little bit, but
I think that's exactly what we're talking about today on the podcast is we all have situations that we're in, whether we're an individual, a family, or a huge organization like a Costco, that we all face situations where we're in a trial or a circumstance, and how we react to that is really what makes the difference. And yeah, Costco, maybe they might not be thinking Disneyland, but they're thinking opportunity. They're thinking, how do I maximize our results as a chain. and make it such that people will come in and make the most of their purchasing opportunities, and even making it an opportunity rather than, oh, we're just here, thank you for stopping by, where the customer is empowered. Yeah, so there's some differences there that Costco is now, kind of leveraging, and not only Costco, but probably all supermarkets and stores that are doing the similar things with lines and things of that nature. They're starting to really see the value of their customer. Like, man, these people have purchasing power, and they're loyal, they come back, and all the rest, and so let's take care of them, but at the same time create somewhat of a, I have the goods, and I have what you're looking for type of thing. um
Yeah, I mean, I think they're there for them. I don't think
yeah.
I don't think they're necessarily trying to like purely use this as a monetization strategy or boosting up their bottom line. But I was just thinking, like, I'm sure there's like, they have to manage the people, put them in line. I get that. But I was like, there's also like a scarcity factor too, and
Hmm.
a timeline. So I
Hmm.
have been seeing people fill up their carts more, obviously, because they don't want to go back in line, right?
Yeah,
And go
right.
back to the store. They want to just, if they could wait this thing out for 3 months and not have to go to the store once, people would do that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, who wants to go back in line? It's like, and then while they're in there, they're like, oh, maybe I do need something else. It's like you're starting to see like the knickknacks being picked up on, and the more
Yeah.
rare vegetables and bread items. It was funny though. It's kind of interesting. Like I saw this phenomenon where I'm going down the aisle looking for pasta. We're making pasta, and I'm sure everyone's thinking that, right? What can I maximize and make the most of that will last a couple of days? And
Yeah.
it's like everyone's getting spaghetti, right? And so I'm going down the spaghetti aisle, and all of a sudden, all the pasta, the dry noodles are gone. Not even the penne pasta, nothing's left over. The linguine, all that stuff's gone. And then there's one box left. I'm like, what? What's this? So I go up to it, and it's regular spaghetti noodles, but it's the whole wheat. It's like, okay, someone left the healthy version of the stuff out there, and so but they're taking everything else, right? So, and the same's true with like the sugary, like the cereal stuff, cereal aisles. It's like all the sweet stuff is taken, but they leave like the kashi, like the healthy stuff for other people to get, right? And
Yeah.
so
This is people are able to like live off their guilty pleasures now. Like they can buy all the Twinkies they want because the excuse is, well, like it'll last a lifetime. So when I'm dying and starving, I can eat my Twinkies like 4 years from now and they're still
I
good.
know we need to be getting the healthy stuff and
But they
stay,
don't realize like,
I
but the thing is like they just want Twinkies like that.
know,
They just don't want to get judged, like, oh man, you're eating Twinkies. Oh, what?
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
people are just buying stuff, man. I said this in one of our first podcasts, and I when someone figures this out, it's going to be huge. So you design a product that is not purchased based off necessity or a need or like an interest or anything else, but you created a product to be purchased off instinct.
Yeah, that's definitely so. If you figure out the way to market that way, you're saying?
No. Just okay, let me put it this way. So there are car tires, right? So in this day and age, you could say, well, car tires are a necessity if you own a car. So people are willing to, do whatever it takes that if they get a flat tire and they have to get new tires or they have bald tires, they're going to know, okay, I got to get to work. It's a necessity. It's just, I have to get new tires, right? If I
Hmm.
want my car. And so people will get new tires.
Hmm.
It's a necessity. Or if you're sitting on your television and you're watching the shopping channel, whatever it's called, I feel really old saying that, but watching the shopping channel, and they go, this new instant steak cooker, right? And like, oh, I want that. So you don't really
Hmm.
need it. You're just buying off impulse. It just seems cool. And you're like, great.
Yeah. No, totally.
But
A
then
lot of, yeah.
Then there's a product which you're buying off instinct. Okay, instinct would be like, you know how you have an instinct, right? So you meet a person and you're just like, get this feeling. You're like, I don't know if this person's being real with me. Like that. Like you follow your gut, or like a fight or flight type of thing. Your instincts to do one of the two, or your instinct is, it's just like how big cats hunt. They can't help it. They just do it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like that. They purchase off instinct.
Yeah, I think
Is that
there's a
weird?
good book. I'm sorry.
I said that's pretty weird, huh?
No, there's actually some thought behind that. I don't know if you ever heard of the book. I'll endorse it because I like this book, and I've liked this author for a couple of his writings. Malcolm Gladwell, Gladwell. He wrote the book Blink. He also wrote another one called The Tipping Point, both of which I've read, and a couple of others as well. But yeah, so he wrote Outliers and some more current ones as well too. But I read the two in the beginning there, Blink and The Tipping Point.
Yeah.
And Blink talks about that. You know, it talks about how do you assess things in kind of like the blink of an eye. You know, we live in a very complicated world that, you know, is fast moving, fast paced, and so many changing technologies and moving parts in every industry, and you never know what a new day is going to bring. And so how do you assess things in the blink of an eye? You know, what, like maybe the color of something, you know, stirs up some emotions, or, you know, just a couple of phrases you hear in someone's speech. So maybe you didn't catch the whole 30-minute talk, but man, when he said those two words, you know, you're like, wow, that impacted me, and that's what I caught. So how do you assess things? How do we assess the world we live in the blink of an eye? And that comes in our realm too, of marketing and sales, and also advertising. Like, you know, how do I promote a product or a service in a way that everyone's like, you know what, I need that. You know, that no question asked. And it could be a true thing, or it could just be, you know, just a reality that's kind of formed because of good marketing. You know, oh, I need that Twinkie. Oh, well, why? Well, I don't know, man, but man, when I was 7 years old, they tasted good. I need one right now. You know, uh, you know
Yeah.
what is what is it that the marketer is trying to press on? And if you could speak into that person's life within that sound bite of a couple seconds, or that you know, that glance of an eye, you know, you've caught their attention. So I think that's what we as marketers and salespeople need to do, is speak in a way, highlight things in a way graphically, artistically, to really capture people's attentions.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm just telling you, like, buying off instinct is it's going to be. I don't know how. I don't even know how it's possible, but something's going to like tap into that. But I always use that to like make my brain want to just like explode.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, even what we're going through with the toilet paper, it's like, you know, never again will toilet paper be seen the same way. You know, like, I'm serious. I mean, when, you know, not only just standing in the lines and the scarcity, but like, you know, it took me a while to get my rolls, because I would go to the store early, but then the seniors would get in before me because they let them in earlier, and they would shop and get them all, and then I would get in, they're all gone. And so it's like, I one day just walked in at the right time, just somehow timed it and got in there, and lo and behold, there's that cardboard box full of toilet paper, and I go, oh my goodness, there's some left. And so I grabbed my 8 roll, and then when I held it, there was like this spiritual moment I had. I'm like, whoa, it's real.
like the clouds opened and it just like a
Yeah,
light shined down on you.
Yeah, right. And it's like, I'm like, oh, it felt softer than ever before, you know? Like it's real, it's Charmin.
It also shows you how much you rely on product.
Yeah, yeah, that's
And you
true.
don't, right? You can deal without having certain things. But I remember like not I remember, but like a week ago, I didn't have paper towels, and I use paper towels a lot. Um, I basically kept finding myself like, oh my gosh, I can't wipe the counter down because I don't have a paper towel. And my wife was saying, Daniel, we have like regular towels that you wash. I was like, oh my gosh, I could just use like a towel, like a
Hmm.
kitchen towel, and just do that
Yeah,
instead. But I was so hooked on like paper towels because it's just right there. You rip it, you just do it, and you throw it. Like it's over years and years of doing this, you just get so reliant on certain
yeah,
things, household items.
yeah.
It's weird, it's crazy, but yeah, making a product that you instinctively purchase. Interesting. I don't know.
That's a good thought, man. I think it's definitely that would really feed a lot of minds of marketers, and just really to think about, that aspect of the buying process. Like people really do buy on instinct, and so how do you cater to that?
Yeah, it's weird. I'm not sure how to like material. I'm not sure how to materialize that any further per se, but it's definitely an interesting thought.
Yeah.
I think, well, you know, there's opportunity everywhere. There's opportunity, and it's sometimes you need something like this to kind of help people see their opportunity.
Hmm.
Or there's instances like what's going on right now, and people aren't able to see past it, and all they can do is just retract and hibernate until
Hmm.
it moves on. But things are going to be interesting this next year.
Yeah, I know. We'll see how things turn out. But the way that I've been looking at it more is just day by day. Like you never know what next week's going to bring or how the economy is going to change, and just day by day, and try to make the most of every opportunity. And yeah, that's
You
kind
know,
of what
last thing I gotta mention this. Okay, I'm on a couple advisory boards, and it's a great way to like learn and great way to give people advice. It's just a great opportunity. I love being on advisory boards. It's like one of my favorite things to do. There's these companies that give you information, right? They give you like a quarterly rundown, and then they ask these questions based on what they give you. But
Mhm.
the information they give you is it's never enough because you can't ask questions directly to them. You have to like get a hold of them, and then schedule time, and then make sure we're both available, and then ask questions. But so it's difficult to like give advice because the information they give you is either really vague or not specific enough, and I can't get my questions answered to give them something specific, so there's like a disconnect. So they'll ask questions like an MVP, which is a minimal something product or whatever. It basically means like if you have an application that you're trying to test, you don't want to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars or money to develop this product fully. You just develop the most minimal version of it that still suffices the populate or your users, but you're not overdeveloping. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And they're like, well, I have this MVP. What's some top 5 strategies we can do on this to make sure we're doing it correctly or whatever, something like
Mhm.
that. And so they're asking for something specific based on something I have no idea what they're doing at all, or they say, I have this new application, and we are like, one of them does this e-signatures for signed celebrity content. So like celebrities will from their computer can e-sign their photo online, and then the company sells it to the population. So they're like e-signed celebrity merchandise.
Mhm.
And this company apparently has their MVP out, and they're already partnered with some large venues, which these venues are going to go, hey, here's this band to the crowd and say, scan this QR code, look at your phone, you're going to get a text, and you can purchase their signed products through your phone while you're at the concert and have it shipped to your house.
Hmm.
And they were asking me about MVP questions and stuff. And I was thinking, man, yeah, I don't know, but it seems like you guys are already doing stuff. And then they said they had a version 2, which included all these new features. And so I thought it was funny that they were asking advice on something that I thought they kind of had handled because they were getting enough information back, and they were partnered with these big venues and they were having all this great stuff happening and through all this users. And I mean, it seemed like they were more far along than they were.
Yeah.
But my point is, it was difficult for me to give specifics on these questions. And even
Yeah.
though they had like this massive opportunity in front of them, and the questions they were asking to me seemed like they were past it. So,
Kind of funny. Yeah. Go ahead.
that's my point. I kind of digressed a little bit, but that's my point. It was kind of funny how they were asking me these things, but they seemed so much further ahead. So I was a little confused because I was like, "Are you guys?" I was wondering if they didn't see current opportunity they're in,
Hmm.
even though they were there.
Yeah, it speaks to a couple things that I'm thinking right now. One that I referred to earlier is that confidence. Especially some, entrepreneurs and business owners alike. They have great ideas, great concepts, things like that. And to some extent, they know how to follow through and carry things out to reality. But then sometimes in that mix of things, that confidence wanes a little bit, and for whatever reason, it's a reality. Whether they, gosh, gotten so many rejections to finally get to that yes, they've pushed up against these, obstacles to finally overcome them, but not without a lot of time, energy, and effort. And so it's like, there's that confidence going, man, is this really going to become a reality for the world we live in, for myself, for whoever it is developing that product? And then there's just like, well, they get past like the initial stages of development, then they got to get it to that next step and maybe go to investors. So there's another level of trying to, get some buy-in, and so they
Yeah.
got to perform again. And so it's like, until they really hit their goal of, whatever the goal is, it could be going public or just becoming recognized in their area of, city, state, whatever they want to, the region. Um, the goal is kind of different for every individual, but until that person, the entrepreneur, let's call it, reaches their goal, they're not going to be able to sit and be content, and they need to make sure that they've gotten buy-in from every level of the market, whether it's initial investors or their friends, their family members, their colleagues, whoever, they're people they've worked with in the past. They want to get buy-in from all these different groups and committees, because then they'll know, oh, okay, yeah, this is going to work out. All these people agree. And so I think people that do that, they're the smarter ones in the bunch, because they're making sure all their I's are dotted, their T's are crossed. They've checked with all their support groups, and now that they know, okay, this is going to go. And so, I mean, I think that's just that's the necessary due diligence that people need to make it. I've had to review a couple of cases in the past. This one individual gave me this technology that I can't go into detail for privacy, but it was related to shoes and technologies around that. And he's worked with the basketball stars out there, and he's even tried on different organizations and large groups, and it proved very successful. But yet he was still kind of trying to get it to that next level of getting investors. And so he had asked Fellowship Sales if I could review it for him and try to get it to that next level for him and get buy-in and get support. So he sent me, I mean, his videos and his articles and his brochures were awesome. I mean, he had the best marketing stuff. So I thought, this guy's already done. He's already good to go. What's he need me for? And so, but there's still that next level of support that people need. So anyways, yeah, I think it's just an interesting world that people are in who have product technologies, or services they're developing.
Yeah, like they were asking kind of for an absolute answer. Like, what are the top 5 strategies we can do? What is the go-to market strategy? What is the main thing we should focus on with our MVP? And I think that limits their outlook on opportunity, not by the answers they receive of whoever they're asking advice from, and then they give an answer to it, right? It's more of, it's kind of like, I always try to hit questions at a brainstorming point of view, or kind of a point of view of non-systematic, non-engineering solutions, because engineering solutions are absolute. So my favorite example right now is the Golden Gate Bridge. So I think it's the number one place where people commit suicides. They jump off the bridge. And the absolute solution, which is the engineering solution, is to put barriers below on the whole length of the bridge, I believe, which is an absolute solution, but it doesn't really mean anything, because the people can still jump onto that and then jump off. Like, it doesn't prevent anything really. So that would be like an absolute answer. But moving forward from that, it kind of prevents you from thinking anything more, right? Like, it's something that was implemented because it was mathematically sound. It made sense because the engineers came up with it. And then it had all the numbers and everything to back it, and logic. So that would be a go-to solution now for any place in the world that asks for advice on how to prevent people from jumping off bridges, which, whether it works or not, people can still jump off the net anyways. So you could go anywhere in the world technically and say, we need help with this. You go, I'll just put nets. Oh, okay, cool. That's the engineering solution. But you have to be able to identify specific solutions based on specific problems that they're having, which you can only get if you ask questions. And most of the time, the solutions can be a lot easier and produce bigger results than people think. And you have to find out that even if the problem they say they're having, that they're facing, it might not even be the actual problem that they're facing. It just might be the top portion of it. Or, you see what I'm saying? So even people who think they're an opportunity might not be an opportunity. Or people who are on upward growth, and then all of a sudden they hit a thing because of this pandemic, and they're like, I don't know how to see past it. So they either are in an opportunity and can't identify, or they're unable to see the opportunity of the future in a way. It's like the whole lifespan versus just short term. So that's another interesting point, you know?
Yeah, lifespan versus short term. I mean, I just read a quote yesterday by Abraham Lincoln, and it says something about, when you find the right thing to do in life, what you do is you plant your 2 feet on the ground, and you just grow. You kind of commit to what you're doing and just stay planted and grow. And honestly, that really helped me because, I'm in an environment that it's very, I'm not sure what the flighty maybe is the right word, or you're not. It's somewhat. It depends on the market a lot. Depends on people. I mean, there's just so many factors that go into what I do. And so I was like having a gut check, like, hey, do I really want to do this? Is this the best thing for me and my family? Is there something else out there that may be a little bit better? And not to say that looking for opportunities aren't good, but then like when I really checked with myself and after I read that quote by Abraham Lincoln, I was like, no, you know what? What I am doing is right, you know, and I'm gonna just plant my feet here, no matter if it's a depression, if it's a tornado, or you know, or no matter what's going on in the world or with my life personally, whatever's going on with me, whatever I struggle with, you know, whether it's a health condition or, you know, whatever it could be. I mean, I'm going to plant my feet here and I'm going to commit. And, you know, we're going to make the best of this. And we could even declare it is going to work out. It will work out.
Yeah.
Uh, I slept a lot better. I woke up 10 times more motivated and I'm having a great day right now. You know, it's like, I think that sometimes it takes that planting your feet and committing and allowing that level of commitment to work for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. You this is every time. It always comes down to, you know, don't be afraid to just let your creativity flow. You know, you don't always have to feel like you have to give the right answer. You don't always have to be on point. You can come in as a consultant and go, well, let me just put this as an example. You can come in as a consultant and go, I have no idea what the solution is, but let's just chat about it. Let's see what you're dealing with. Or maybe you go, that solution, there's no way you're going to be able to hit that solution. It's just impossible. There's too many moves. It's too complicated, right? But since there's moving parts and they're all kind of linked together, maybe this one little problem over here, which has a profound solution that we can do, will actually make these better. So increasing capacity of a train does not mean building a larger train, or does not necessarily, because that would be like impossible, right? It costs so much money. You'd have to just have such a surplus of seating. It would be insane, right? It's really not practical. And making the train move faster doesn't really make anything better anyways. It's more of like utilizing people who've already kind of have tickets, filling those empty seats, having them have options to jump on earlier trains. So it's kind of like, do you see what my point? There's the two extremes of build a larger train with a surplus of seats, make the train go faster. But really you could just, people who get there early, you can give them an option to jump on an early train with empty seats. So
Yeah,
there's
that's
little
right.
movements you can do that produce results for the bigger picture you're trying to do.
Yep, that's perfect, man. I think that's brilliant. I mean, it's ingenuity, innovation, creativity, all those words apply. And it's like, you know, how do I do things in a way to just think smarter and more creatively rather than have to reinvent the wheel? That's totally worth saying. I think what I just said, like reinventing the wheel is not the answer to our problems at times, you know. And but sometimes we think it is. Oh, I just need to redo it a different way, or you know, reinvent it and kind of just make sure it works better or works this time. And but maybe focus on maybe tweaking a different, you know, nut on the bolt. You know, maybe hammering a different nail on the panel. You know, maybe trying something on a little bit, you know, differently that's gonna fix the overall situation. You know, um, you know, and then and honestly sometimes that's a lot easier than having to restructure the whole wheel again, you know. So what can we do with our creative minds and yet not have to, you know, do things in a laborious way to overextend ourselves, right? um, you know, we still apply ourselves, we still work hard, we get people on board to join the team and do things together. And maybe some of that is that too, is find the right person to synergize with, you know. Maybe it's not, maybe we don't have all the answers and we need to partner with someone else, or surround ourselves with the right individuals. Those could be our family members, our business connections. I mean, just it just depends on who you are and where you are and what you do. But people sometimes is that support, you know, not necessarily a technology, you know, but
Yeah.
maybe a individual. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I love that. Anyways, I think that's everything I have to say for today.
That was awesome, man. I think so. I think we're good to go today. I'm looking outside my window here, and I see an awesome view of sunny skies, and just a bird just passed by right now. So I think we're on to some good things today, Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good talking to you today. Any closing thoughts?
Nothing right now. Nope, no closing thoughts. Just everything will be fine. We will enjoy quarantine time. Last bit of advice: go on Instagram, go on Facebook. Don't just feed up the news too much; it'll make you paranoid and crazy. But go on Facebook, Instagram, and search up like hashtag quarantine life and stuff. You're gonna find a lot of fun stuff you can do with your family and games. And I recommend it. There's a lot of cool things you can do. It's really fun. Yeah, so check it
Thank
out.
you. Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. Appreciate that. Well, friends, now that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us today at Peppers and Flowers. We look forward to joining you again next Saturday. Daniel and James signing off.